Sports Channel, in conjunction with Bud Sports, presents New York Express Soccer. Tonight's game is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all that you do, this Bud's for you.
From the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota, it could be a sellout crowd as the New York Express gets set to meet the Minnesota Strikers on Ball Day here in Minnesota. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm John Paul Della Camera. Alongside me, former Major Indoor Soccer League All-Star Ty Keogh. Hey, the Express are getting enough goals to win. They've scored 5 goals in each of their last 2 losses, but that's not enough goals. What's been the story, Ty?
Well, I think they're going to need some goals in this afternoon's game, definitely. Minnesota has a potent scoring team, some very dangerous forwards. So, you know, it's a question of experience. If you're going to get the goals at the other end, you got to be careful that you can consolidate that and turn it into a victory.
And how about offensively? Who can the Express count on today?
Well, Diego Pesa, coming back from an injury Friday night in Kansas City, had 2 goals. Mark Liverick looking for his 200th goal tonight. Both of those are the guys that the New York team looks to for their goals.
And on the defensive side, Hubert Birkenmeyer will be in goal, and he played the other night against Kansas City. But one would have to think that the Express have to cut down on their mental mistakes defensively. It seemed like, at least in our televised game Tuesday, their defenders were in the right spots, but those accidental deflections cost Shep Messing 4 goals.
Right, against this Minnesota team, Hubert's going to need some help, and he doesn't need the balls going off the defenders and into his goal. So I understand he played a very strong game, was very alert on Friday night. We're going to need more of that tonight.
Who worries you being a former player on Minnesota? Willies, the UCN?
Exactly, those two most of all. The other players all support them well and play off of them well, but Alan Willie, what an experienced goal scorer. Anytime he's near the ball in the penalty area, he can turn it into a scoring opportunity. UCN, very fast and quick. He can burn you at any time.
So Minnesota has some dominant players, and another key stat that we'll be watching for you this afternoon is this. In 6 straight games, the Express have given up at least a hat trick to one member of the opposing team, and now that has gone to 7 out of the last 8. So someone has come up big against New York during this last stretch. Stay with us. We'll be coming back to the Met Center in just a few moments as the Express gets set to kick off against the Eastern Division contenders, the Minnesota Strikers. The Minnesota Strikers, who are 13-11, are a couple of minutes away from taking on a New York Express team that's 2-21. We're looking at the line outside. They started coming here about 11:15 for a 2 o'clock kickoff. That's the kind of ball that they're giving away, a miter ball. It's a regulation-sized ball, and you couldn't find a happier kid in Bloomington than this guy right there. But that's what happens when you have a ball day promotion. Chris Whyte, who's the general manager here, he used to do these all the time in Pittsburgh, and that was always the biggest draw. But the key here is that they're getting a quality ball, and they're giving away something like 5,000 of them today. So you get a great shot at getting a ball if you fit whatever requirements they had, and usually it's under a certain age.
And it's an eye-catching ball. You see the orange, the bright orange, the rocket red, as they call it, and the black, and they're all over the stadium here now, here at the Met Center. I'm afraid they're going to be bouncing around a little bit during the game.
Well, they may be bouncing around, but I guarantee they won't end up on the playing field, because if you get a ball like that, that's Chris Whyte, the general manager of the Strikers, to the right. And I tell you, it could be a very entertaining afternoon. You know that Minnesota likes to play wide open, Ty. Do you think we might see an even more wide open style because they've got the crowd here?
I think they're going to be pumped up, and they do play an entertaining style of game. They like to get into the attack, and they have the dangerous players who do thrive on that style of play. So I'm looking to see the game be offensive.
Starting goalkeepers, as we mentioned, there's Hubert Birkenmeyer, 1-10. That's a misleading record of 5.68 goals against average. I say misleading in 3 of those games, and those are not games that he won necessarily, because he's only won 1. He was the defensive player of the game, and the last victory for this team came when Hubert was in goal on January 9th against Kansas City. And on the opposite side, Matt Kennedy, who showed a lot of courage, as most goalkeepers do, because when Ty Keogh mentioned he was stopping Banovich, we're talking about on breakaways. So Kennedy gets a chance to show the home folks what he's made out of, and Tino Lettieri has got a seat on the bench this afternoon. And normally, as Lettieri goes, so go the strikers. This year, they've got 2 goalkeepers.
That's quite a luxury for Alan Merrick. Any coach in the league wants to have that 2 guys that can do it any night, because you have a lot of games and play all the games back to back.
They're saluting the crowd this afternoon. They have no doubt announced that it is a record crowd here in Bloomington. We'll see how both teams adjust to it. Pesa up front with Liverich and Davis in the midfield. Eskandarian and Chris Whyte for the Express. And on the opposite side, Lodovegas and Etherington in the back. Up front, Hudson, Steve Kinsey, and Thompson Usean in front of Matt Kennedy. The game is underway. Gino DiPolito, Hamed Houday are the officials on the floor. Willie Vandegert is the official in the box. And the ball lands in the New York Express bench right away, so there'll be a restart. And the Express will put the box in. Greg Thompson cutting, right wing it goes for Stan Cummins. Pesa on him. Cummins now shifts back toward the right. Picked up by Eskandarian. Now it's Alan Willie who's just come on. Willie, they'll try to give and go. Willie will take it. Chris Whyte chasing off the boards, will score it. Alan Willie from a deep angle, and the Strikers take a 1-0 lead.
This Alan Willie, he amazes you, because most forwards may not even take this shot from this angle, but he must have seen an opening or seen the fact that Hubert Birkenmeyer may have been screened on it. So he gets it off very quickly here, just past Eskandarian, and it's past Birkenmeyer before he can react.
I started to say off the boards. I thought he was going to try to play it because I didn't think he had an angle. Great shot from Willie, his 21st goal of the year. He has now scored 14 goals in his last 8+ games. This would be his 9th game. So he is...
I started as a newspaper carrier. I think the responsibility of delivering papers teaches kids so much about the world, about work, about reward, about that special pride you feel when you do a good job.
Become a carrier for your local free community paper. You'll work 1 day a week with no collections and gain valuable experience while earning money. To find out if a route is available in your neighborhood, call 752-1010. Everyone has to start somewhere.
Just back here at the Met Center in Bloomington before a record crowd. As the Strikers lead 1-0, it's played up to Willie, and Etherington starts his sprint. It's reversed on the right side of Stan Cummins off the glass. McLean took the gamble and wins the ball. Off the glass, there he goes. He had 7 black shots the other night against Wichita. Had a solid all-around game, and now it's cleared back by O'Hara over 3 lines.
On that last play, we saw Etherington and Rick Davis matched up there, and their former teammates. They signed at the same time with the Cosmos, so it's interesting to see them playing against each other now.
On the left, it's Grigorov. Freddie to Davis, and he just misses the far post. Right side, Kevin Marr off the boards, looking for Grigorov. Got another touch on it, but Kennedy was right there. O'Hara, 4 former teammates have had a couple of close encounters there around the goal mouth area. Now it's John O'Hara. Bringing it back up the floor. Right side, Greg Thompson. Picked up by Ricky Davis. Back out to the right point for Hudson. Pesa with a good work rate. Now Kevin Marr leaves it for Birkenmeyer. Hector Marinaro trying to take advantage of some confusion there. Say how deep Minnesota is with depth. They're sitting out Helmut Dudek. There are some trade rumors floating around about Dudek, but it seems like every time I've come into Minnesota, somebody else is not playing. Either it's O'Hara at the back or Lodovegas, or in this case it's Dudek. And whenever one of those good defenders is out, there's always trade rumors.
And these are all proven players in this league, so you'd think that they would be trade bait at some point.
Dudek has averaged almost 30 goals a year, and that's more impressive when you realize he's a defender. He's probably got the hardest left-footed shot in the league, but Alan Merrick said before the game he wasn't shooting it, so he's sitting him down. On the left now, Grigorov off the boards, and Matt Kennedy is right there. 1:23 to go. First quarter, 1-0 Minnesota. You see him. Dekes it around St. Lot. Collins to support, shot off the right hand of Birkenmeyer. And the Strikers had 2 other players breaking on the left, Hudson and Marinaro, some good supporting runs. Lodovegas and Liverich both hit the deck. That's New York's foul, and now it's even a 2 apiece.
Mark Liverich trying to get back into the play here, steps in with his arm first and then tangles up Lodovegas' legs, and the foul is called. They both hit the turf quite hard after that.
Lodovegas will put it in play. Right side to Thompson. Still 1-0 Minnesota. Thompson looking for Marinaro. St. Lot banging it off the boards. We've got a foul called. on Marinaro, who played on the Cleveland Force reserve team for the last couple of years. He's had a couple of big goals already this year for the Strikers. One of them was a game winner, and one brought his team back to life in St. Louis when they were trailing. Chris Whyte from Birkenmeyer. Rolled to the right side for St. Lot. Back to Birkenmeyer. 50 seconds to go. First quarter of play. A 1-0 lead for Minnesota. Collins double team wants Whyte to run with him. Now Chris Whyte will get it at the midfield line. 2 players on him. Dishes it back off to Michael Collins from Hicksville, Long Island. Pass for Leverage. Right back for Collins. Has a tough job, but does settle it. On his left foot, across. Punched out by Kennedy. Whyte hesitates. Now will get it. Leaves it off for Collins. Cross it comes into the neutral zone. St. Lot trying to play it across. Picked off. It's a 2-on-1. 18 seconds left. Lodovingas and Hudson. Ray Hudson shooting it. Save. Birkenmeyer. Loose ball. Whyte tackles it away for Leverage with 10 seconds. Birkenmeyer keeping his team in there. That's a great save.
It's a brilliant save. They're in cold turkey on him. They crack it. His reflexes come up with the save with the hand.
New York has made so many mistakes, and right there, that was the veteran, St. Lot. So it's not just the rookies. It's not the same players. They almost take turns as Collins sends it long. Almost too long. Whyte will get it. Chris Whyte in the corner. Broken up. He and Edmonton holding each other's jerseys. Each will have to wear a larger size after this quarter is over. There was some good stretching going on. That's it for 1 quarter. Minnesota leads it 1-0, but where would the Express be so far without that man? Hubert Birkenmeyer has been coming up big. We're coming right back to the Met Center in Bloomington. Let's take another look first, Ty Keel, at this big save.
Here we have the 2-on-1 set up. New York caught with only 1 man back. A hard low shot. Birkenmeyer just gets down in time, and then the rebound. Chris Whyte was very alert to be able to get his leg on and clear it away.
So your score at the end of the first quarter of play, Minnesota leads 1-0. We're coming right back. We'll get it. You see it in. It's headed down. McLean flicking it away from Kinsey. You see it still with it. Collins at pace after him. You see it wheeling and dealing. In the box, they tried to give it go, but Yusean was going inside, and that ball went to the outside. And now the Strikers get it back with 13 minutes left in the second quarter. Still leading it 1-0. Stan Cummins with it at the red line. Steps over the ball nicely on his left foot. Score! He comes up limping, but it's 2-0 Minnesota.
Well, Stan Cummins, probably the most experienced player out here if you count his outdoor experience. What a great move he put on there at the top of the box. The little step-over move, so deceptive. You see him carry the ball towards Kevin Maher. The step-over is enough to get him wide open. Then a low, dipping left-footed shot into that far corner. You got to give him credit for execution because the move worked perfectly, and then the shot is low, hard, and on goal. Hubert Birkenmeyer is partially screened, and the ball's low and dipping under it.
Well, he made a great fake on Marr, and then he also used McLean as a screen. So on the replay, you could see that Birkenmeyer had no real clear look at it. Leverage coming back the other way, trying to shoot it, and he's blocked and taken down by O'Hara. They were also former teammates in Pittsburgh. St. Lot, nice cut on Dangerfield. The shot is back for Greg Thompson. On the right for Cummins. Over the line, he has the last goal. Fakes, left-footed shot, just wide rebound, score!
And that, JP, is what I call an indoor goal because Hubert Birkenmeyer went down on the first shot, had it covered, would have saved it had it been on goal, but that leaves him out of position for the rebound. Here you see the initial shot, low and hard but wide. Birkenmeyer then out of position for the rebound.
Steve Kinsey's 12th of the year from Stan Cummins at 10:35, and Stan Cummins has made it happen twice now.
He has. He's a spark plug. He's out there. He's a little guy, but he's tenacious, and he goes right to the goal.
Well, that's one of the goals that could really hurt. 2-0, they were still getting some chances, but now Minnesota's starting to put some distance. Although it's still extremely early in the game, but New York needs to get that reward up the other end and get them rich. Holding it, leads it into space for Whyte, but Matt Kennedy is there. Someone has to cover for Chris Whyte. 10 seconds to go. It's a 2-on-1. Shot was wide. Collins is back there covering. Off the boards, Greg Thompson. 2 seconds. 1. That's it for the first half. As O'Hara lets the ball go, it goes into the net, but no problem. Time had already expired. A look at Matt Kennedy, a more beleaguered look on the part of the Express goalkeeper Hubert Birkenmeyer. And at the end of one half of play, Willie has one, Stan Cummins one, Steve Kinsey the other, and it's Minnesota leading it 3-0 over New York. Back with feature interviews with Chris Whyte and Michael Collins live in a pre-recorded chat with TAllen Merrick when we return. Tough place to find an empty seat today. Minnesota leading over New York by the score of 3-0. Goals by Willie, Cummins, and Kinsey for the Minnesota Strikers. Nothing on the board thus far for the New York Express. But downstairs on the floor, we've got a former All-Star, Ty Keogh, talking to two present All-Stars, Michael Collins and Chris Whyte. Downstairs to Ty.
And I might add, the first-time All-Stars. Chris Whyte, in fact, the only player in this All-Star game to be a first-year player in the MISL. So, how's that make you feel there, Chris?
Very good. I've been pleased with the way I've been playing since I've been here. It's a nice little bonus towards my season. I'm looking forward to the game very much, and hopefully I'll play well, and the crowd will enjoy watching me.
How do you compare the level of play, let's say, to the level that you came from in England?
Oh, it's electrifying. The pace is so quick. In everything you do, you have to think quicker. It comes off the turf, so much quicker. And, your distribution of the ball's got to be that quicker. They put you under a lot of pressure. Therefore, once the ball comes to you, you have to know what you're going to do with it quick. You've got to make your mind up.
Well, you're doing a great job of adapting to the play in the MISL. Now, here we have Michael Collins, a 6-year veteran in the league. First appearance in the All-Star game. Now, you've played with some championship teams. Now you're going to be stepping in with some of the All-Stars, the rest of the league. How does it look for you to step in with some of these players?
Well, Ty, I've been in the league, like you said, for 6 years, and this has been my goal ever since I joined the Arrows back in 1981. And I hope to put on a good performance to represent the New York Express. And, it's really what I've wanted to do since I stepped into the MISL. I mean, the greatest thrill is to become an All-Star and to play with players like Tattoo and Kai Hoskovy and Craig Allen and, all these great superstars. It's a really big honor for me.
And an American-born All-Star, a Long Island native. That's good to see. And for myself, I've seen you played against you for a few years. I'm thinking, given more playing time early in your career, you'd have made an earlier appearance in these All-Star games. So we're looking forward to seeing both of these fellas in the upcoming All-Star game on Wednesday night from Los Angeles. Good luck to the both of you. Good luck in the rest of tonight's game. I'm going to ask Michael here, how do you see the game forming up today?
Well, the last time that we played them, Ty, was a 9-2 blowout. And, they are home, and they're playing in front of a capacity crowd, which helps them. It gives them a big boost. But we've been in there the whole first half with them, fighting and struggling to try to put a goal away. But they've been, on the other hand, they come down 1 or 2 times and, making the right opportunities and really putting the ball away at the right time. So I think that in the second half, if we come out with a little bit more intensity, that, things could start going our way, and hopefully they start going our way season-wise.
All right, I'd like to see you get that next goal, definitely, and make a game of it. JP, I'm going to send it back up to you. Do you have any questions for these young men?
Well, I tell you what, Ty, I'd like to know from Michael if the crowd is intimidating New York at all. They don't have as much to lose maybe as Minnesota, but is it bothering some of the New York players? Same thing with Chris.
Michael, he wants to know how you're reacting to the crowd. What kind of effect do you think it's been having on your team today?
Pardon me?
The big crowd today.
Well, obviously, I love playing in front of big crowds, personally. I'm sure the rest of the team do. The only way you can answer that is obviously play well and show them. They're obviously behind their team. It'll be nice to stick a few in and show them that.
Exactly, get the job done, and we're going to let JP get the job done here. It's all yours.
Thank you, Ty, and congratulations to Michael Collins and Chris Whyte, who will be headed for the All-Star game Wednesday night at the Forum in Inglewood, California. There's your score at halftime. Minnesota 3. Welcome back. We're at halftime here at the Met Center in Bloomington. A great crowd on hand to watch the Minnesota Strikers and the New York Express. And our guest is the architect of the Minnesota Strikers, their head coach, TAllen Merrick. 2 years in a row, Soccer Digest has picked you as Coach of the Year. So what can you do for an encore?
Take the team to the championship and win the championship. Those honors are nice, but the overriding factor behind coaching is winning a championship, and that's the next stage, and that's what I'm trying to orchestrate and, as you put it, be the architect to.
I'll tell you what, they say that coaching ages people. Now, you still look as young as you did a couple of years ago, and you're still a very young coach. How did you make the basic transition? One day you're a player, and the next year you're a coach, and coaching some players that may even be older than you are.
Well, it's being in the right place at the right time. While I was a player, I was always that type of player who coached on the field. I was an extension to the coach. I was fortunate to be a captain of many of the teams that I played for, and so it was an easy transition, in actual fact, to take on the coaching responsibilities. I had to learn the game, and so did the players that I was with, which was another fortunate aspect. But players, wherever you are always experts. They always double guess and triple guess you. I try to keep ahead of the players, and the information that I give them, I think, makes them into better players, and then makes the team into a better team and functions better.
Charlie Cook was now the head coach for Wichita, was an assistant last year at Dallas, and I said to him, what did you learn? What's the difference between an assistant coach and a head coach? And he said, I learned the art of compromise. So I'll change that to you. You're a player now, you go to a coach. What was the biggest adjustment for you to make?
Being hard-nosed in a lot of instances. The team that I took over had a lot of players that I played with, and so I had respect, I hope, as a player. Then I had to earn that respect as a coach. And I had to make the right decisions at the right time, and you affect a lot of people's lives by doing that, as any professional sports is. So you had to make decisions that were good for the player, but also good for the club, and probably Charlie epitomizes the role of a head coach and an assistant coach. I have to make decisions and live by them. An assistant coach can be a little bit more of a liaison between his players and can sometimes be the buffer between the players and the coach. And then you get input all the way around, and then I have to come up with the solutions.
The guy beside me is also the coach of the All-Star game. He'll be coaching the East squad because his team finished in the finals last year with San Diego. What's the strategy? Are we leaking something to the enemy? Because I know you guys still play it, even though it's a showcase, you'd like to win.
Very much so. It's going to be... all of these star players are going to be congregating in LA, and I'll have 2 practice sessions to form them into a team, which is a pretty impossible task, but the game of soccer is universal, and I think that with the talent that we have, and going into the game as underdogs, because the East squad has only won the All-Star game twice out of the 8 events, we're going to go in as underdogs, and we're going to give it our best shot. We have a great amount of talent. I think I'm going to have a shepherd's crook there on the bench to make sure I can get some of these players off, because I'm sure they'll want to project all of their skills to the fullest. But we're going to put a format together that's going to be fair for all of the players. They're going to have basically the same amount of time, and then they go and demonstrate all of their wonderful skills and excite all of the crowd in LA and all of the viewers that will watch it nationwide.
Good luck, Allen. You've done a great job here in Minnesota.
Thank you very much.
Allen Merrick, the head coach of the Minnesota Strikers, is our guest. Stay where you are. We've got a second half coming your way from the Met Center in Bloomington after this. With Minnesota out in front 3-0. Those shots are extremely misleading. In that New York has 18, the Strikers 11. The Strikers only had 3 shots that last quarter, but if you put a possession time clock on them, it seemed like they had the ball about 80% of the time.
A lot of New York's shots as well are from far out, a little bit out of frustration. They haven't been able to work the ball in, so they're just cracking it, and most of them are being blocked by the initial defender. So it's not really, it doesn't give you a real idea of how much New York has penetrated, which is not enough.
So the next goal could be an important goal. It may determine whether the Express get back in, or if we have another 9-2 game like we had in New York. The Express were concerned. This is Gregura taking it around Edrington and Fogarty. Off the boards, nobody trailing. Picked up by Kinsey. 2 on 3. And now they'll be joined by Cummins, and going down is Marinaro. Foul on Cater. 2:29 to go in the third quarter. Here's another look at the foul.
Cater here in the midfield just barely misses making contact with the ball and wipes out the Minnesota attacker.
Ball played up now to Dangerfield. Knocked back towards Thompson. Liverich just coming on, getting the ball. 3 on 3. And now 3 on 4 as Willie hustles back. Right side, Cater. For Liverich. Broken up. Collins after it. Michael Collins knocking it back to Steve McLean at the midfield line. Left side, Cater. Now it's Kevin Marr. For Liverich in a corner. Trying to shoot block. Liverich again for Marr. The shot off the post and in. Kevin Marr brings the Express back in from Mark Liverich. It's 3-1.
New York finally getting more of an organized attack, as you saw them bringing more players upfield and keeping the possession as well. getting into the attack as Liverick dug the ball off the boards, laid it straight back. Maher running onto it, a hard low shot, catches that inside of the post and stays in for once instead of coming out. I mean, there's been some hard luck for this Express team, but Maher gets himself free, and in fact, the ball went through Fogarty's legs, which had to fool Matt Kennedy.
Well, there goes the shutout, and right now, safe to assume that the next goal is the big one. That one means nothing if Minnesota gets it. If New York gets it, they're within one. And that might have an effect. Remember, Minnesota has had a losing record here at home. They're winning on the road on the right side. Pesa, good speed by Diego. Now it's played back to Kennedy. Lost it for the moment. But that Minnesota has a couple, but there's 4 for New York. On the left, Hudson. A minute to go. Third quarter. 3-1 Minnesota. Hudson coming in, leaving it left side. Vegas a lot of room and corks it wide. A little high on the shot as well. Kept in though by the strikers. Marinaro blocked by Marr. Thought that was a good block because Kinsey was open, but they're going to get a foul. That's 5, and watch out. They don't want to be a man down. Ball played out now to Vegas. He'll hold it with Davis on him. 45 seconds left. Third quarter, 3-1 Minnesota. Almost 4. It's blocked, and Kinsey put it upstairs.
Vegas, his left foot, he goes to it every time, and he still manages to get a shot in. You know, Rick Davis, an experienced player, knows that, but it's a good enough move. I've seen him beat players repeatedly with that same move.
So it's still 3-1 as Vegas gets a well-deserved breather. At the beginning of the year, he was not playing. Missed a couple of games, and right now Dudek falls into that category. As rumors continue here on Minnesota, they'd like to get somebody that can put the ball in the net, but you could probably mention 3 or 4 other teams, including New York, and say that's what they're looking for. But right now, Minnesota is in a good spot because they've got some depth in the back. And teams are also looking for help defensively. Ball is played back to Birkenmeyer. 34 seconds to go. Third quarter, 3-1 Minnesota. Hubert with pressure from Marinaro. Up for Albuquerque. Oscar broken up. Fogarty trying to play it back. Liberts almost knocked that one away. Dangerfield to Fogarty. Across the way to Stan Cummins. Going long ball. Right side. Dangerfield has to run after it and gets it. Played it across. Broken up. Intended for Marinaro. Davis looking. Marinaro blocking from behind. Ricky takes it to the right side. Crunched by Marinaro. That's not a good foul, but they had one to waste. That's 3. 5 seconds to go as Davis is back up. He's at the deck a couple times hard. 2 seconds left. 1. Time will run out. So that's it for the third quarter of play. But the Express right now are at least within striking distance. They trail the Minnesota Strikers by the score of 3-1 before a record crowd here at the Metropolitan. 1 more quarter to go. We'll check it out when we return.
Big crowd here, you know, is going to see a good fourth quarter now because 2 goals is well within striking distance.
Well, speaking of a big crowd, how about this? 15,173, the largest regular season Sunday or weekend crowd ever. They've only topped that in the playoffs last year with Cleveland and San Diego. Well, now they've changed it to 12 shots for New York and 12 the other way as the fourth quarter begins. Next goal is going to be a big one, regardless of who gets it, as it's played back to Birkenmeyer. On the left side to Chris Whyte. Takes it around one player. Fogarty steps in and wins it. White's got to hustle back. The right side, Hudson for Willie. Striking it back, and Michael Collins at a good spot. Up the right wing. Pesa. Try to put it through for Collins. Right idea, but Willie blocked that. Eskandarian across the way to Chris Whyte. Reverse to Pesa. Now to Collins. Michael chased by Fogarty. Fogarty steps in front, wins the ball. Fogarty on the left, into the corner. Now Collins trying to win it back. It's out to Cummins, a rocket too high. That ball has a bit in the memory, and he's not played in a while. Kinsey. Last time I remember him was in a collision with Davis, but he didn't appear to be hurt. Here's Vegas against McLean. By the D. Left-footed shot tipped in. Steve Kinsey.
That one hurts. The Express had plenty of defenders back and were set up to absorb that attack. But again, Vegas, that same left-footed move that I was talking about earlier, you're going to see him when he gets the ball here, he's able to jockey Steve McLean a couple times and always back to that left foot, a low, hard drive. Actually, he's shooting, but Kinsey, knowing that that's a dangerous position to be in, is able to tap it in at the far post. Because you watch how much he gets on the shot. After the quick move to the left foot, cuts it straight across. He hits it low and hard, and all Kinsey has to do is direct it into the goal.
So Kinsey's 15th of the year at 2:32. The Express now needing to get one just to get back to where they were. Gregura from Michael Collins. Left-footed drive too high. Cummins heads it straight up for Willie. St. Laud against him. He's going to get some help. And on the left, look at this run by Cummins. Try to play it across for Thompson. Blocked. He'll shoot it. Saved by Birkenmeyer.
Cummins has been all over the field. He's been doing good defensive work. And every time he's in there on the attack, he's making something happen.
Along the right wing. It's Willie. Side volley is blocked. Now O'Hara's after it. Left side for Cummins. Cater can't find it. Cummins in the box for Willie. Looking to turn. Dangerfield wide open at the far post. Lead ball. Cater. Flying down the right wing. Pulls up. Nice cut inside. Another cut. He's got the goalkeeper out. Another cut. Across Gagurov. Score! That's one of the great plays for Cater of the Express season.
Brilliant work by Cater. A good pass by Michael Collins to spring him initially on a near breakaway. He saw that he didn't have a full breakaway, so he held up, and he virtually toyed with the Minnesota defenders and the goalkeeper. You see him cut the ball once, cut it again. He commits the goalkeeper, Kennedy, as well. Has another empty net, takes it back, and then lays it off unselfishly to Gregurov, who doesn't miss those. Gregurov set up there in a dangerous position trying to support. But what great dribbling ability and what deception in these as he cuts the ball around the defenders and then just lays it off to Gregurov, who packs it away.
Sort of in the Yugoslavian style of a Preki, except that time 4 different times I was waiting for the shot.
Empty nets and not executing, and I think part of that is his injuries.
They were making a great point about Davis' recovery because he had backheeled at the other end and he was caught flat-footed.
If he doesn't get back, they're able to just toy with Collins and tuck the ball away. The added pressure forces them to act quickly, and they made the bad decision there, and Collins was able to react to it.
We talk about a lot of things when we talk about Rick Davis. You don't usually mention speed. He showed right there when he needed it. He had it.
He's got plenty of speed.
Low to Vegas on the right side. Now it's Willie from Fogarty. 4-2 Minnesota, 1:35 to go in the game. Sixth attacker on for New York. Willie in the corner. Pacer there. To Marinaro, trying to cut it inside, and Collins is right there. Michael Collins now coming out by the D. Double teamed. Dangerous spot for Michael, but he got it away to Albuquerque. A little bit of room for Oscar. Right side, Gagurov. Freddie looking into the corner. Taken there by Jeffries. Gagurov double team, lays it off for Albuquerque. Oscar holding it on the right foot. Now to Collins. Michael, bring it back towards the left on the strong side. On his right foot, Libert's trying to get free by the D, trying to show for the ball. Now it's Collins from 55, too high. Gagurov, that's too high. Rebound, Albuquerque, miskicking it. Collins, good win on the header to the corner. Gagurov and Fogarty, if that's on Freddie, that's 6.
A little bit of frustration showing there, Freddie, seeing that he couldn't get to the ball, just threw his body in there, hoping anything might happen, and he drew the 6th foul.
That's the 6th foul there, and when you work hard to try and create a break, that's what can happen. 50 seconds, but the crowd is applauding Minnesota. I got to applaud New York's efforts here.
I do too. The 6th attacker situation, they've been pressing the goal. They've been looking for the openings. They've been taking some shots. They've just been unlucky. At some points, the balls are being blocked by defenders. They're deflecting just wide instead of possibly in the goal. Because if you think of New York's last couple games, you know, a lot of unfortunate goals in their own defensive area, deflecting off of defenders. So much so, Hubert Birkenmeyer told us before the game, so many goals are going in off his own defenders. He was going to tell his forwards to start marking his defenders. You know, I mean, you have to keep a sense of humor when those type of things happen.
I'm surprised you got that in. There's only 50 seconds to go, and you wanted to do that some point today, but you got it in there. So you're learning.
Well, it was a good line, though. I mean, we were killing ourselves laughing before the game when he said that one. I mean, it's true, though. I mean, it was so much bad luck with those own goals going in off the New York defenders. Hubert, we asked him, how do you deal with it? He goes, well, you have your forwards mark your own defenders.
And Hubert is back in goal. No more 6th attacker for New York. Chris Whyte getting a block. Taken away by Kinsey. Wide open is Allen Willie. Kinsey held it. Now Hudson sending it towards the box. Just too wide. Kinsey held on too long there. Minnesota could have had another goal to delight the crowd here. 28 seconds left. 4-2 Minnesota. But the Express gave a good showing of themselves. Marinaro to Loda Vegas. Nice cut. On his left foot into the corner for Kinsey. Back for Loda Vegas. Out at the right side. Hudson to Marinaro. 15 seconds. Long shot punched out by Birkenmeyer. Albuquerque looking for it. Now White headed back by Hudson for Marinaro. Loda Talladega, blocked by Ricky Davis. Davis working as hard with 2 seconds left as he did the whole game. That's it. So the New York Express have now lost their 11th game by 2 or less goals, and they go to 2-22. Matt Kennedy goes to 6-1. But you got to feel badly for Birkenmeyer. He only gives them 4 goals. That's not bad on the road. But this time, the Express offense couldn't do what they did in the previous 2 games.
Exactly. They made some opportunities, and they had some organized attack, but really didn't show the savvy of a more experienced team or a team that's been together longer to be able to finish those chances.
All right, one other final. Kansas City beats L.A. by that same 4-2 score. It was 4-2 before a record crowd at the Met Center in Bloomington. Ty and I will wrap it up when we return.